Welcome to Rauta, I am Jerry, and this time we go for new wave of Finnish black metal. This is Mormânt de Snagov from my home city with the new album called Invocation Through Revocation. And those of you who have been following the channel already know that a couple of years ago I actually interviewed the band, and I've of course reviewed pretty much all the albums, well, more or less. And this is the kind of a band that you probably don't confuse with a lot of Finnish black metal bands out there. I mean, this ain't no Horna, Satanic Warmaster, Clandestine Blaze, PHX and all that stuff, but quite different. Then again, this band has always done something quite different, more, say, lightweight, maybe more melodic than most bands, or at least the melody type is somewhat different than the so-called typical melodic black metal. This is almost like borderline dark metal in so many ways, and this new album is actually somewhat of a transition phase album, meaning they're definitely taking steps out of the so-called black metal territory, department if you will, and some might say, yeah, it's shining through how they perform, how they look on the photos and all that stuff. Well, I leave you to decide how much or how little there is this pure blood black metal content in the band, but this is it, how it looks like nowadays. And now let's open the Metal Archive site for backdrop. This band photo is a little bit old, so probably doesn't give you a little bit of too much to go into, but I mean, I kind of get it. Even though guys might have black metal shirts and all that stuff, there's something that probably puts you a little bit like in a weird, like, this ain't no typical black metal band with the corpse paints, the spikes, studs, you know, whatever. This is more like a heavy metal band. And actually that is very, very much how this new album sounds. It's almost like a ex-black metal band wanted to go into the world of heavy metal, or heavy metal band that is flirting with black metal. Take it as you will. I mean, bad or good or just neutral, but it is very, very much a dominating factor here. It's almost like the band is a little bit bored with typical black metal and wants to do something else. Now, I had the conversation with one of the members in the band, Miska, who is doing vocals, the quite screamy ones, rather typical in black metal and quite good. And also one of the founding members of the band doing guitars. And he said, it's actually true. This is a transition phase album, and they are kind of sliding away from typical black metal. Maybe even considering to put this band to rest, at least in its current state. Now, fifth album since 2008, that means 15 years. The band has never been lazy or anything like that. Okay, first two albums, 2010 and 13, 3 years in the middle mix, in the middle with the EP demo, so active all the way through. Now here is a little bit bigger gap with 2013 album, the second one, and 2018. 18 to 13, 5 years. But then again, you had Split in the middle, plus some rehearsal demo, but that doesn't probably count so much. But then these three latest albums came quite a bit back to back. Okay, 4 years here and there, and now only a year after the previous one. Mind you, even though this says 2023, physical version was released in 2024 and quite late as such. So even if it shows like I'm a little bit late to the party doing this review in mid-July about 2023 album, I got the correct information from the band itself, and while it says here November for digital, yes, but when we go for the physical ones, suddenly here it is April 26th. This is confirmed by the band, so don't take my word for it. It's coming from the band, and I think the Japanese version came a little bit later. So yeah, very much a spring 2024 release through WormHoleDeath. So what can we say about Invocation Through Revocation, which I already did mention? Surely, there are lots of black metal moments. Certain riffs are like kind of a pure black metal. But there are also lots of riffs which are more like, this band is doing heavy metal. And now, while nothing wrong with that, it's obviously gonna be a no for people who are more into pure blood black metal. The kind of a true black metal sound coming from the 90s, coming from the early 2000s and onward. This is more like 50-50. You have 50% of the kind of a typical black metal, maybe of modern days rather than old school ways, but still. And then there are lots of riffs which could be even borderline rock and roll, maybe heavy rock, but still. So lots of heavy metal blending in with this kind of stuff. Meaning this is not the fastest album out there, even though there are faster parts. And then there are lots of synthesizer parts, which are using the keyboards, borderline symphonic elements. But these ain't no Dimmu Borgir, so not going that far. More maybe Emperor Department with the 2 early albums. So it's like a little bit this and that, mixed goodies bag kind of a thing. And I'm not gonna say this is gonna be a winner even to old school fans of the band. Probably those who like all the albums are gonna like this, but for me, this transition phase is kind of too obvious, and as such, this is probably the weakest Mormânt de Snagov album. Not just because, the songwriting is a little bit odd, but also because it's clearly a transition phase. It's not like outright, okay, fuck you and your black metal, we're gone, we're gonna do that something else, like Darkthrone did later on, or Burzum for that matter, or Enslaved. You can list lots of names doing that, Gehenna, But the point here is, this is just sliding away, just enough to kind of disappoint you if you're a black metal band. But then again, having enough black metal moments to kind of get you in, lure you in if you are into world of light-hearted. Light-hearted might be a little bit off, but let's say light diet version of black metal, meaning melodic and not very grim, not very fast, and certainly not raw. So kind of a black heavy metal kind of a thing going on. Some people might actually consider this as the best, for the reasons mentioned. People who are not that much into grim, raw, black metal or whatever might actually like this one. Because there are plenty of bands who kind of either go a little bit folky, a little bit mellow death, a little bit this and that with their black metal, and kind of like 50-50 kind of a thing. So I'm not going to say it's a bad album, because it's not. But it's a hard cookie to crack, because if you have a thirst for pure black metal, you're going to be, no, this ain't no that. And if you kind of want something heavy metal, you might find this is too much black metal. So a final comparison, a metaphor if you will, is like, this is whiskey and Coke. If you like Coca-Cola, this is gonna be too much whiskey in your glass. If you like whiskey, like Scotch whiskey, this is gonna way too much Coke. But if you love Coke and whiskey, the kind of a Czech and Coke in a way fashion, Motorhead, well, this is your cup of tea. So with these words, you decide whether or not this is your cup of tea. Links are included in the description box, so you can start listening right away and let me know what you think. This is Rauta, I'm Jerry, this is Mormânt de Snagov. See you soon with more reviews coming your. And if you like the band, if you like the album, check out the interview as well. Take care.